Yes, so atomic habits. Why atomic habits and why am I choosing to review this book? This is one book that clearly talks about the major thing that's on everyone's mind at the beginning of a new year, which is setting goals, picking up new habits, being a new person, having new year resolutions. And while that is not a wrong thing, it is always good to approach it with the right mindset. And I have reviewed this book in this jotter right here, and I'll just be going over the major points that I touched point on and the things that I found very interesting. Hello, welcome again. My name is Deborah Tata. I am a day-to-day product designer, and on the side, I do a lot of things around corporate events, panel moderation, speaking engagements, everything around tech and business and events. And it's been such a fulfilling journey, and it's something that I genuinely enjoy. And if you are an existing subscriber, thank you so much for clicking on this video to watch. I am sure that you've seen value in it, and that's why you're here again. If you're a new subscriber, you are at the right place at the right time. I talk about tech and business, bring different talents on here to share their ideas and their approach to work with us. And I also do book reviews and every other thing in between. But today we are reviewing Atomic Habits, a very popular book, and it's by James Clear. I think that this is one book that I've seen people recommend over and over again. And my own favorite thing about it is the fact that it's very visual. Aside from the writings, there are also descriptive images to actually engage your mind and to interpret the words that are embedded in this beautiful work. So today I will be reviewing this book and we'll be discussing major things that actually stood out to me and how I interpret them in my own day-to-day life. I hope that at the end of this video you'll be able to grab one or two things to actually help you through your journey in 2025. So yeah, let us jump right in with you. First is the popular saying, little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. And I think that's self-explanatory on its own, how that the little things that we do can actually add up to be something very huge that's even almost uncontrollable. And this can apply to both good habits and bad habits. And there's a very funny metric behind this that says that 1% better every day for 1 year can make you 37.78% better at the end of the year. And that's 1.01 exponential 365. And the same thing applies to 1% worse every day for 1 year, and that can make you almost a 0% worse at the end of the year. I think that's particularly 0.03%, which is a very terrible thing. But the emphasis here is repetition, consistently doing something. There's how much it's going to make a change. And with the name of this book, Atomic Habits, it means that no matter how little those habits are, no matter how small those things are, they genuinely would always add up. And there are also like a couple of things that actually compound. So no matter what it is, whether it's positivity, stress, relationships, negative thoughts, they will all compound no matter how small it is. Over time, I always say time is a weird factor. Over time, all these things will actually compound into something and it becomes an habit, or it becomes something that is almost uncontrollable, whether positive or negative. I've made a list of 18 things that are worthy of note from this book, and these are things that stood out to me based on my own personal experience. And number one is mastery requires patience. There is a man, he's a social reformer, his name is Jacob Rees, and he said something, and I'm going to read it just as he said it. He said, when nothing seems to make sense or help, I go and look at a stone cutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times, without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet, at the 101st blow, it split in two, and I know it was not that last blow that did it, but all that had gone before. And this is a very profound statement, because it means that you might be eating on something or doing something repeatedly and it looks like there's no result for it. And that's where patience is very important. And by the time you make one change or you repeat the same thing again, you realize that there's a breakthrough, and then you begin to wonder, maybe it was that last straw that did it. But no, it was not just that one straw or one eat that did it. It was all the other work that has been done before then, all the late nights, all the pushing, all the eats that had actually gone ahead of that one moment of breakthrough. So, and that's why patience is very important. Number 2 is forget about goals, focus on structures instead, or focus on systems instead. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube that talks about like creating systems, and I would recommend that you go look at those videos. But rather than create like goals, which is like list the things you want to do, why not set them into systems, things that would naturally run by themselves every day? And one major goal that people would usually set is, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to go on a weight loss journey, I want to lose, say, 10 kg, just something similar to that. But if they rather put like a system in place, like, oh, I go to gym 4 times a week, it makes a lot more sense, because that's a system that can be repeated. And again, you know what we said about mastery and patience as well, then you achieve that goal over time. The third thing is outcome-based result versus identity-based result. And this, or you can say outcome-based habits versus identity-based habits. When we try to build habits or change the person that we are, rather than focusing on the outcome that it births in us, I think it's very profound that we focus on the change that it does in us, who you become in the process of changing that goal, or in process of pursuing that thing, is more important than the outcome that you get out of it. So the book particularly emphasized that if you, rather than say, oh, I want to write a book, a page of a book per day, you can say, I am a writer. So you are first becoming that thing before you then begin to act those things out. So rather than focusing on outcome-based habits, it's always very sweet to focus on identity-based habits. And number 4, it says habits are simply reliable solutions to recurring problem in our environment. So, and this is very funny because it talks about how you can, why do we even set habits in the first place? Why are we interested in habits? Why are we interested in maybe going to the gym, eating healthy, and just like other things that we set for ourselves, or waking up early, just those very little things? Why are we interested in it? It's because as humans, we are problem solvers. So when you see a problem, the next thing you want to do is to create a structure to which you can solve that problem. So let's imagine you walk into a dark room and it's really dark. The first thing you want in your mind is, how do I get on the light? That's already a problem. Then you flip the switch and then light comes on. So it then subconsciously, as humans, you can walk into a room randomly and you don't have to think, your brain does not have to process, oh, I need to on the light, then you go through that entire decision making process. No, it's subconscious. So you enter a dark room, you turn on the light, and then that already became an habit for you. And as simple as, or as easy and subconscious as flipping the switch is, it can also apply to other major or bigger habits that we are trying to build. Number 5, it says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. I think this statement, I'm still digesting it, maybe that's the word, because the way it resonates with me is that if there's something that is unconscious, especially from an African background that I'm from, sometimes you might feel like some things you call it fate because you feel like you're not in control of it. But the moment you put those things under your control, you then see that it's not fate, it's not what it's supposed to be. It's just an anomaly that you have decided to admit and make a reality. So if there's any habit that is unconscious, it's always very important that you make it conscious, so that you don't then accept it as your identity, or accept it as fate, that, oh, that's how it happens kind of thing. No, that's not how it happens. There are ways to actually make like unconscious thoughts, be very conscious of them and be willing to do something about them. And number 6 is point and call. I think I started doing this much recently, and it's to call out the habit. Once you do that, you are most likely you're more likely to do it. So for example, say, oh, I want to wake up early, 6 a.m. tomorrow. There's something about meditating it in your head, which is good, but there's something about calling it out and saying actively that, oh, I'm going to wake up by 6 a.m. tomorrow. Somehow it raises the awareness of that particular habit or have that particular situation, and then increases the likelihood of it being done. So if there's an habit you want to do, point and call it, like actively call it out, say the word out loud. And when you raise the awareness of it, the likelihood of it being done is much more increased. The next thing is that no behavior happens in isolation. The exact word is, each action becomes a cue that triggers the next behavior. So nothing is independent. As humans, nothing is independent of one another. Imagine the dark room example I gave. If there was no dark room in the first place, you wouldn't have the thought of flipping a switch to put on the light, So it's very important that you can say that you can know if there are habits you want to change. It's always good to link it back to, where is this behavior coming from? What is the trigger for this particular situation? So for example, a writer could say, once I wake up in the morning and I freshen up, I will write a book immediately I freshen up. So that way you are linking an habit to already existing behavior that you do effortlessly, and then it becomes a lot more easier to do because you are able to link it to an already existing habit or an already existing behavior. Number 8 is dump motivation. So this is very, very similar to creating systems. So we, as humans, there's a level of excitement that comes when someone is gassing you up, and is usually very sweet. But the truth is, it is not sustainable. So rather than focusing on motivation, this book emphasizes that you should focus more on creating an environment for that thing to flourish. So it's as easy as, if you want to go on a weight loss journey, rather than when you go grocery shopping, you know that the chocolate aisle is not for you, or some things that are maybe less healthy is not for you. That way you are creating an environment such that day to day, when you open your fridge, you are seeing healthy things, and most likely you will eat healthy things because that is what you are seeing. And so creating an environment where the habit you want to build is a lot more easy. It just makes it takes away a huge amount of the stress that will come from doing that habit. And the same thing applies to a bad habit. So if there's a bad habit as well that you want to stop, the cue is just to make it a lot more difficult to do and reduce the amount of environment possibility that allows that to happen. All right. The number 9 point is, it's the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of that gets us to take action. And this particular chapter was very interesting because it made me think a lot about dopamine, and how it used particularly examples of gambling addicts, that they get a dopamine spike right before you place the bet, not after you place the bet. So that excitement or that sense of fulfillment, it comes from the process before you get the reward, not after the reward. So there's that anticipation. There's a way anticipation actually makes you feel fulfilled. And for example, I think for me, the process of cooking a meal is much more exciting, or seeing that, oh, there's something to eat, is much more exciting than what you feel after you have eaten it. So generally for habits, if you make it if you're anticipating a lot more, it becomes much more interesting, and there's a level of fulfillment that also comes with it. Number 10 thing that stood out to me was that a genius is not born. And I think that this is already easy peasy for anybody to know that a genius is not born. You have to learn it. Particularly, it said you can educate and get trained for it and advance in your skills. So there was an example of a man that he married his wife solely because he wanted them to be able to train their kids to play chess and be world champions. And they achieved it for their 3 girls. And that was the only thing that they did. So it means that nobody is born with anything special. You can actually learn it. If there's any habit you want to start or anything you want to do, you can genuinely learn it. Number 11 is something that I think I really understood the moment I read it, and I could relate with it. And it's the fact that we imitate the habit of 3 people: the close, the many, and the powerful. And I will explain, because I think I've been in a situation where all of this have been very obvious to me. One, you can imitate the habit of the clothes. With my housemate, she started going to the gym, and because of that, I just started going to the gym, and now it's become like something that I would do regularly. And it's just how we imitate habits of people that are close to us. And research has shown that if a partner that you are living with is on a weight loss journey, you are 57% also likely to also lose weight. That's how. So 1 in 3 of that situation, you'll actually also lose weight. And that's how you can be influenced by the people that are close to you. You can also be influenced by the many. There was a research also, I can't go into the details, but it said that if they made multiple people choose a wrong option of a particular question that was asked, and because of that, the one person that was not aware of the research also chose the wrong thing, because she felt like, okay, even though I know that this is A is right, I will still go for B because many people are there. So we tend to also flow towards the idea of the many, or imitate the actions of the many. Finally, we imitate the actions of the powerful. And I think that's just how life is. When people get to fit in, so when you imitate the habit of the many, you fit in, and after you fit in, you want to stand out. So that's how power works generally. I think that particular chapter of the book, rather, it made my brain spark. But yeah, I've got 5 more to go. Well, yeah, maybe. So next thing is to get your reps in, and this is very important. Let me tell you the story that was told here. So there was a lecturer, and he had 200 students in his class. So he split them into 2. 100 students were a particular group. The second 100 was another control group. So he told the first 100 that at the end of the semester, just give me one really great picture at the end of the year. And he told the second group to say, you must take a picture every day till the end of the year. So one group was quantity and the other group was quality. And at the end of the semester of the academic year, he realized that people that were taking pictures every day had much better pictures than the people that only were supposed to submit just one picture at the end of the semester, or at the end of the academic year. And that was very good, because sometimes we emphasize quality over quantity, but the truth is, it is repetition that takes repetition can take quantity to that place of quality as well. And at the end of this session, you realize that those people that he told to take pictures every day, they came out with really good pictures, because they were repeating the same thing, trying pictures every day, taking different pictures till they got really better on it. And that's how it is. There's a key in repetition. It's the master of any habit, repeating that same thing. There's just a way that it makes you feel very confident. And it goes back to that same thing we talked about at the beginning, which is that mastery and patience, they work hand in hand. You get it? So yeah, next thing is make your habits easy. Don't go on for like very difficult things that are almost unattainable. Like, try and make it very easy. And if it's bad habits, to make them like very hard. Reduce the choices that you have, so that you are able to like make decisions easily. Number 14, which says, what is immediately rewarded is repeated, and what is immediately punished is avoided. And this, of course, relates back to childhood. Once you get something in you get some sense of satisfaction from it. So try and make sure that the rewards of your habits, they are actually like close by. You can see them, you can quickly feel them. It makes it a lot more, you can see that you're making progress much like very quickly, and you can apply to anything. And that's why I think the concept of streak is a thing, because every day that you send a streak, or every day that you keep a streak, you see that it is growing, even though you have not seen like the big reward. But the fact that there's like an immediate reward, an immediate compensation, it makes you want to continue to do that thing. And that goes into the next one, which is for you to track your habits. Number 16 says your genes matter. And the particular example given here was that for you to even be in the NBA in the first place, you must be over 6 feet. So anybody that is below or maybe less than 5 feet might not even be thinking about basketball in the first place. So try and pick on skills that are much related to your genes so that you are not stressing over like unnecessary things. Pick things that you know that biology or your anatomy is already like in line with those things. And number 17, it says the greatest strength is not failure but boredom. And I think this is where people lose it, especially at the middle of the year. You've started like with so much strength, you're going, and you hit a point where you're just bored. It's like you're repeating the same cycle over and over again. And that's where repetition, patience then comes in for you to continue to do that thing, even when you're already bored about it. And that's why a lot of people just stick to like a schedule and they let life get in the way because they just feel like there's nothing to continue. So at the point where understand when you hit bottom and be ready to like revert or take a different route entirely, which is the final step. Be willing to accept that a season is over. If you are on the track of an habit or you built an habit to a certain point, be willing to know that, oh yeah, this has ended and I need to possibly forge into something more and not hold on to something because you have created a structure or an environment around you. Be willing to accept when the season of your life is over or when the season of you doing something or building something is over. I think this is all of the 18 stuff, and I hope that one or two of them make sense to you and they resonate with you. Overall, I think this is a very, very great read that everyone should add to their book collections. You can read it any time of the year, and I don't think it's restricted to just the beginning of the year. I also think that it is a great read. Thank you so much. I hope this video helped you. Please do well to like, share, and also subscribe and share with other people as well, because I think this is also going to bless them and also going to help them. My name is Deborah. Once again, I'm so excited to do this, and I hope that you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed filming this. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.